I know I said the next video was going to be on the not for resale variants for the Wii U, but another user named Ryan just posted about a video topic that I did in 2018 about the top 30 rarest Wii U games and comparing the prices from then to now, and there are quite a few differences. So I'd like to compare that video with today's prices and show you guys. Maybe do the not for resale version next video. Alright, let's get into it. Okay, so this list has definitely changed quite a bit since then, but I'll just compare what was on that list to today's prices and maybe cover another top 30 of what I think is the newest, rarest, or valuable games that are on today's market. So 5 years ago, most of these prices have changed a lot. We'll get into it right now with number 30, Scribblenauts Unmasked, the DVD version from Walmart. So not much has changed with this, since you can still get lucky and find a normal listing with the DVD bundle. So if you're lucky enough to find that, you'll be able to get the game for the same-ish price as a normal standard version, so $15 to $20, but people who know what they have will list it for, $50 to $100. There's even some other listings that are even higher, but they haven't sold. And the next up was the oddball Nintendo Selects titles, Just Dance 2015 and Sonic's All-Star Racing Transformed. So back then, both of these games were fairly new at the time, so Sonic is almost doubled in price. It went from about $35 to $70, and Just Dance, actually, it didn't change much, since you could only find it for about $60 back then, and you can still find it today for about $70. And then we covered Skylanders Imaginators Dark Edition and Skylanders Superchargers Dark Edition, the version from Amazon with the stealth elf figure. So Imaginators hasn't changed too much, since back then you could only find one for about $150, and today the most recent sale I could find was $170. Whereas back then, Superchargers Dark Edition was still available on Amazon for about $53. Nowadays, it runs you about $100, so it doubled in price. This next one nearly tripled in price, the Xenoblade Chronicles Special Edition. So you could get this for about $63 back then, and now it's running $180 to $200. Now this one hasn't changed too much at all. The Tokyo Mirage Special Edition back then was about $50, and today you can still find it for $70 to $80. And number 24, Rodea Sky Soldier, the limited edition bundle. I'm pretty sure you could still find copies of this on the NIS America website back in 2018, or it was just nearly sold out. So it was only running about $75, whereas now you won't find one for under $100. And these next two GameStop editions both haven't changed too much in price. The Rayman and Tom Clancy Splinter Cell Blacklist editions both had GameStop edition prints, but both of those you can still find a standard retail or normal version listed with the GameStop logo print, and most people only charge the standard price, so $15 to $30. And then number 21, Mario and Sonic at the Rio 2016 Olympic Games. This one also hasn't changed too much, since back then it was really hard to find. Today, it's not as hard to find, but the value's still up there. You can still find it for around $70 to $80. Now, number 20 probably had the biggest change in price, Devil's Third. This was a pretty rare game back then, but the value wasn't up there. It was just hard to find. So back then, it was about $65. Now it's pretty easy to find, but you won't get it for less than $300. And then DuckTales Remastered with the pin hasn't changed too much. It was about $60 back then, and you can find copies for about $100 today. Now this one also jumped up in price, but not drastically. So the Wind Waker Limited Edition back in 2018 was about $170. Nowadays, it's $230 to $350, depending on how good of the condition you want it. Now I think these games also haven't changed too much in price. The refurbished prints and sticker versions. You can still find these listed for a normal version with that label on the front, but some people do get around $60 to $100. And at number 16, the Lego Marvel Superheroes version from Walmart with the little figure, that has jumped a lot. So back in 2018, you couldn't find it very easily, but when you did, it was about $80, less than $100 at least. Nowadays, you can't really find them that easily at all, And when you do, most of them are private sales, and they can fetch over $1,000 for one in brand new condition. And the Crude's Prehistoric Party, that already had a really big spike back in 2018, and it was very recent when I did the video. So that really hasn't changed too much. It's actually stayed about the same. If not, it came a little bit down. So it was about $65 back then, and I've seen sold listings for about $50 up to $85. So it's around the same, but you can find copies less. And then the remote bundle of the Mario and Sonic Sochi games, that has changed quite a bit too. Back then, it was about $100, just a little bit less. Now it's running at least $200 for a new copy. You can find them for under $100 or about $100, but not too often do they pop up. Another one that's changed quite a bit is the Disney Infinity 2.0 in the really big box, the special version. So it was hard to find back in 2018, but when you did find it, it was running about $65. Nowadays, I haven't seen one pop up in a very long time. I do know of a private sale that happened at around the $300 mark, but I'm not sure how often those sales pop up either. And then number 12, the Super Smash Bros. Bundled with the adapter and the controller, it's not really changed too much either. So it was hard to find back then since everybody really wanted it and it sold very fast. And it was running around $150. Now it's still running a bit less than that for a used one, and then quite a bit more than that for a brand new copy. So I've seen used copies go for as low as $80 and new copies run as high as $250. And another game that the rarity hasn't changed too much is Turbo Super Stunt Squad. So this game was incredibly hard to find. I remember it being one of my last games I needed for my standard set. And back then I was lucky enough to find it around $50. Now it's running $150 to $200. Whereas the rarity on this one completely fell off. Hello Kitty was known to be the rarest game back in 2018, but a big reprint happened, and now it goes for $40 to $60, whereas it used to be over $100. And number 9, the Nintendo Land bundled with the Luigi controller. So this one, it used to only be about $100. Now you can find used ones for $120 to $150, but they can go upwards of $350 to $400. Now this controller bundle has almost gotten impossible to find. The Just Dance 2015 Target Edition. So back in 2018, you could find them very, very rarely for $185, $200. Now, I actually haven't seen them sell for a couple years. I do know the last one I sold was $600, but that was even a few years ago. And now for a few Skylanders editions. The Swap Force Dark Edition, it was always hard to find, and even now it's not easy to find, but there are some available for around $250. At least the last sales were around that. And then the Trap Team Color Alive Crayola Edition, this was really hard to find back then, but I speculated it to be about $100. Now, I know it's roughly about $400 in private sales. And the Trap Team Super Bundle Pack, the Holiday Edition, is something that I actually haven't seen another one for sale since I bought mine. I know one other collector who managed to get one, but I didn't even get to see the listing, so it's not one that pops up very much, so it's really hard to put a value on that one. And at number 4, the Darksiders slipcover from Mexico. So the We Pick Contest fan art slipcover version, it was very expensive for me to get in 2018, and it's very expensive today too. I personally don't know of any that have sold for less than $1,000. And at number 3, the Lego Jurassic World bundled with the Dr. Wu figure. So this is still just as hard as it was to find in 2018. I don't know of any sales that have happened of less than $1,000 for this one either. And in the top 2 spots, we have the 2 New York City bundles. The Mario Kart 8 limited edition bundle was around $700 back in 2018 and has doubled nearly. It's going for at least $1,200 now. And same thing with the Hyrule Warriors. This was around $1,000 back in 2018, but has jumped, and the only one available right now is around $2,000. Alright, so that was actually a crazy little recap. I am surprised how many games have jumped in value, and actually how many of them have stayed the same or even dropped in price. So thank you, Ryan, for posting about that video I did back then. I'm even more surprised that video has over 9,000 views, so maybe I'll do a follow-up and I can get even more views on this kind of content. Seems like you guys kind of like this. It was fun to watch the video again and to see how many prices changed. So I kind of enjoyed doing this. All right, have a good one, guys. Thanks for watching.